everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope y'all are doing well. Let's turn our background music on. Go ahead and set up all of these fun things. Let's do, let's see here. We'll add in the check-in link for those of you who are just coming in. You can go ahead and check in right down here. All right. Ooh, we got fun people here. Howdy, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, hello. Lots of familiar faces. Sweet. Awesome. All right. Well, just in case you're coming in, if you want to go ahead and get checked in, you can just do that right at this link here. Get those sweet, sweet Global Hack Week points. Very important stuff. If you're new, welcome. Excited to see that you're here. Welcome to Global Hack Week. Welcome to MLH. We're excited that you're joining us. Awesome. So for today's stream, we're going to be brainstorming some hackathon project ideas. Which I have from our live stream earlier. Which I'm going to pull up really quickly on my side here. Say hi, everyone. Oh, your cat. That's so sweet. My goodness. One of my friends has a really cute cat. I'm usually more of a dog person, but sometimes they're so cute. Sweet. Let's see. And let me create my page. This will be brainstorming Web3 Hackathon project ideas. I think that that's kind of the fun of cats, right? They kind of just roam everywhere. Awesome. Well, so for today's stream, hold on. Let me drink some water here. There we go. Anyway, for today's stream, we're just going to be working through some hackathon project ideas, walking through some fun things you can make for projects, some fun little Web3 related projects, look at some potential hackathon prizes, prize categories, things like that. And I think it's going to be a really fun one. So you can go ahead and always check in right at that link here. We always have Q&A and chat. So we'll go ahead and put that up here. We have music on in the background. I think we're almost ready. Yeah, if you have any questions about any of the Global Hack Week challenges, I can do my best to answer, if it's technical or non-technical. And if I can't answer it, maybe I can hopefully point you in the right direction. So feel free to ask away. I like to keep my streams pretty interactive, so it's a nice time for us to all get a chance to work on some stuff. Oh, it's okay. You don't have to win every hackathon. I think that's important to understand, right? You can have a good time at your hackathon even if you don't win. That, and also sometimes hackathons are very competitive, right? There's lots of different like people who want to compete and different sort of resources potentially. So I'm going to go ahead and really quickly share my notes page for this live stream. And I went ahead and made a little hack pack link. so you can go ahead and view it here. And I'll also paste it in the chat if anyone follows along. If you want to click on it, you can go ahead and see that. Awesome. Ooh, yeah, we have a great question in the chat. Is there any way I can simulate a crypto transaction using an API? I don't own any cryptocurrency, something that's free to use. I am a student. Well, I have some great potential guides for you. I'm going to go ahead and pull them up really quickly. But I have some great MLH partners that have free test accounts that you can use. Let me go ahead and get those really quickly for you. Yeah, so one example is for Flow. This is their, yeah, absolutely. We'll go through and have a nice little getting started. I'll actually just, you know what? I'll go ahead and get things set up first in the stream, and I'll go ahead and paste all of those links in the resource. So let me go ahead and share my screen really quickly. Close this as well. So just everyone can go ahead and see everything. And then we have improving presence and skills. So let's see some questions to answer from chat. We have simulating transactions as a student. We'll do simulating cryptocurrency transactions, beginner's guide, improving technical skills, and participating in MLH events. Sweet. So let me go ahead and actually stop sharing this part of my screen really quickly and start sharing just this tab. Perfect. There we go. Okay. And then, so first question I wanted to, I guess what we'll set up first question is, we'll do here, simulating cryptocurrency transactions. I will change this into heading 2 actually. So simulating cryptocurrency transactions. We're doing this. The great thing is that MLH has partnered with a variety of Web3 technologies and the leaders to provide y'all access to free resources to explore Web3. A large portion of these partners include access to testnet, which is a free place to work on Web3 projects without requiring financials, buying or owning any cryptocurrency. Sweet. So we have a bunch of different partners that we work with that have potential Mm-hmm. So our first one is Stellar. You can find their guide right here. Then we have StarkNet as well. We have Flow. I know for a fact the Flow Getting Started guide includes their testnet specifically. So you can go ahead and specifically access the testnet as well. Perfect. Oh no, I closed my tab with all my resources. Let me find it really quickly. There we go. Cool. Yes, definitely connect with other hackers in the Discord. That's something that you're interested in. Yeah, but these are some of my personal favorite Web3 resources, and these are resources that Emily has specifically partnered with that have all of these very cool technologies that you can kind of work through. And the best part is and they have specific getting started guides for hackers and communities of hackers who have used these technologies in winning projects. So I think this one is a really great question that we managed to answer. Yeah. There is a Solana challenge from the Global Hack Week website as well. I'll go ahead and point everyone to those resources too, because I think they're pretty helpful. Let me share this tab really quickly. So if you're familiar with Global Hack Week, what you can see is in the challenges tab right here, you can view all of these challenges that you can work on. And we have a variety of different challenges that you can work on. Like, for example, an Ethereum application, EZA that works with Sorobon, using Web3 APIs, or potentially working through the Solana Web3 development area. There you go. So I'll also point this to hackers as well. Paste this much. Go. Sweet. So So link to the Global Hack Week Web3 challenges from Solana. So that's another great resource that you can access. So that's awesome. And then what you can also do in that regard is let's talk a little bit about the next part. We'll answer, I think I'll answer this question first. So a common, I guess, misconception or issue that I see hackers deal with is that they don't really think that they can't participate in MLH events because they don't have enough experience, or they're not, they have never done a hackathon before, they're not sure where to get started. I think the most important thing to consider is that you are ready to participate in any MLH event. I think that's really important. We pride ourselves on being beginner friendly, pride ourselves on being an introduction to the hackathon community for a wide variety of hackers. And I think that's awesome and very, very important. So if you are, we'll talk a little bit more later about improving some of your technical skills, and how to find resources and how to learn new things and how to brainstorm projects. But the best way to feel more comfortable in participating at MLH events is to participate in more MLH events. But don't be afraid to take your first plunge and try that first one, right? I think that's really, really important. And I think that's something that a lot of hackers sometimes struggle with. So you are ready to participate. Don't feel like you have to necessarily, have these skills and have everything figured out to participate. Totally not the case. We'd love to see you no matter what. So I think that's what I'll say on that note. Okay, sweet. Let me go ahead and get started here with kind of the general plan of actions for what I wanted to do today. And I wanted to walk through first, like, my brainstorming process for any hackathon project. Walk through a Web3 project brainstorm example, and then answer more of these hacker questions. Sweet. Will the similar work for blockchain transaction simulation also? If not, please recommend some more. I mean, it should work generally, just because, well, for most of the time, all of these technologies are using some form of blockchain. We actually did a whole stream yesterday on Web3, and you can mimic blockchain. Like, blockchain is such a big part of Web3 that truly all of these will have some form of blockchain component on them. So you should be able to mimic them. If not these specific guides, then you can find very similar things in them. Like the Stellar developer docs has access to everything. Like, Stellar is a blockchain. Starknet is also going to have more information. Flow will also have more information. So I think all of these should have everything that you need. Of course. Yeah, so let's go ahead and walk through, I think, the initial brainstorming phase. So one of the most common things I recommend to hackers is understand the hackathon when they're first competing. And what I usually mean by that is that I always encourage hackers to take a thorough look at all of the prizes and tracks being offered at the event. I encourage everyone to take an especially close look all of the partner prizes and tracks being offered at the event. This can be something as company-specific challenges, MLH challenges, or even organizer-led challenges. Understanding the prizes being offered can be a great starting point for determining the project direction, not necessarily the full idea. Specifically, what I mean by that is you can use these prizes as a way to understand what the judges will be looking for at the end of the hackathon. You should also use the DevPost Hacker Guide, event websites, and any other hacker resources to understand the specifics of the event. I always especially encourage hackers to keep in mind the hackathon theme. I think this is something that we see pretty often. Different hackathons have different understanding of the word theme. Some just use a theme to determine the style of the event venue and the look and feel of their swag items and potentially prizes. Other hackathons use themes to guide projects and require projects to adhere to specific themes in order to be eligible for any prize. For both of these approaches and have a prize category or prize or judging, I would say judging rubric section for creating a project that adheres best to the hackathon theme. Okay, sweet. So I always like to, I just always like in my personal example, what I'll do is I will start off by heading to the event website, event dev post, and event hacker guide, or all of these, or some of these, if not all of them exist. And then what I think I want to do really quickly before we get too far in is call a quick break. So I'm going to be back in probably 10 or so minutes. So that'll be at 10:40. And in the meantime, I would love for everyone to ask questions in the chat. So I'll be back in right about 10 minutes, friends. Yep. See y'all in a few. Alrighty. Hello, friends. I'm back. Let me go ahead and shrink this part real quick. And then go back to sharing my screen. We've got some fun questions in the chat that came in over break. You can go ahead and answer. Sweet. First question we have here is, I have a doubt since I missed the NFT session. I tried creating the NFT, but I think it requires money. So I doubt if it's possible to mint one without having to pay charges. I mean, is that possible? I'm going to do a couple of things here for that one specifically. First thing I want to do is just share the MLH YouTube to y'all. Specifically, for that, if you're trying to watch all of our past live streams, you can go ahead and access that right there. So that I think is particularly helpful. For that stream specifically, they should be able to walk through how to mint the NFT there specifically. So you should be able to do that and see that see that in particular, which I think is really helpful. You can find all of them in the live tab from yesterday. So that tends to be pretty helpful. And then we have, did anyone try to send the cryptocurrency challenge to Robson and Rugby of Alchemy? I did the free one, but I have no knowledge how to do so I created an Ethereum app and have an API. I'm not familiar with those technologies specifically. Usually there should be YouTube tutorials, the developer documentation. All of those will be particularly helpful, I think, in trying to answer those specific questions. So that, I think, is the best place that you can do it. No stream. We have a stream. I'm right here. So break time question for Kari. Are there key roles to play on the team? It seems there needs to be someone strong in UI UX, someone in data, APIs, AI, MLs, databases, a charismatic presenter with video and writing, a subject matter expert for the hackathon subject. One person could do it all, but it seems that all of those parts need to be played. Generally speaking, I think sometimes people get too specific in, oh, we need to have one dedicated person doing databases and one dedicated person doing the front end and one dedicated person doing all of the video presentation. I think, honestly, it's best when hackathon teams have people that are well-versed in a lot of different areas, but are willing, and so they are willing and able to jump in as needed. Because what I often see happening at events is that for some reason, one part of the project falls apart at any part, whether it's, oh, our dedicated database person had to leave early because they had a family emergency, or, even something as simple as like they were at a hackathon last weekend and they're also at a hackathon this weekend and they're more tired and it's not as productive as it used to be, right? So in that regard, I think it's really important to consider that everyone on the project should know how to do, or at the very least know how to try to do, all parts of the project. That being said, I think there's definitely parts in which you need someone to focus on the presentation. You need the team to focus on the user experience. You need the team to focus on the data and the programming, and all of those parts are equally as important. Yes, having one person who does all of those things really, really well tends to be harder than having 4 people that tend to do those things really, really well. But it's also important to know that hackers in a lot of different instances are particularly difficult then for hackers to find a good way to kind of work through those projects, right? So specifically, it can then be harder to have dedicated teams in that way. But when you're looking for teammates, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday not yesterday, but 2 days ago during my live stream. When you're looking for teammates, sometimes it's important to consider that you're looking for people that complement you, don't necessarily replace you. So yes, see the projects for Global Hack Week, globalhackweek.mlh.io challenges. That's the best way to do it. So for Global Hack Week, I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about the roles, tasks to be done. Am I missing a role? It depends on the project, right? I've been to projects where I've been to hackathons where a lot of the projects are primarily UI UX based, and so you have you have 2 people on UI UX, you have like one person on data. I don't think you always even necessarily need a subject matter expert for the hackathon subject. But it could be really, really helpful, especially if I think it honestly depends on the event, right? Like I've been to events that are like very heavily data science focused, and so everyone's really interested in data science, right? And so most of the projects tend to be more data focused than a different hackathon, which was at a school with a very strong UI UX program, right? Those projects tend to be more prototype based. In that realm, it's really hard to kind of walk through those roles. I think sometimes you might need just an additional person. Like I always like to call it like you do kind of need someone to corral all of these different ideas and all of these different people together. And so like the buzzword for that usually tends to be PM, project lead, project manager, so on and so forth. I don't think it's necessarily, required that like someone does all of those, but I think that's somewhat important. Like someone that keeps track of when things need to be done and how and who's doing what and whether we're on track with the goals and the timeline that we have planned. Yes, I think sometimes that's hard when the challenge is more specific. You kind of need to figure out better how to do your thorough research, right? So I think it's really important sometimes to be able to pivot pretty quickly and change things in that regard. But yeah, no, these are great questions. So I really appreciate being able to answer them. So of course. For initial brainstorming phase, hacker resources and hackathon themes. The other thing that I like to do in the initial brainstorming phase is team matching and teammates. So generally, you can, team with pre-existing project ideas, being flexible and reaching consensus on the project idea with your team. Very often, I see hackers who have a project in mind, but no team. I also see very often teams with no project in mind at all. So generally, I think it's really important that whenever you are meeting with your team or deciding on a team, you have a discussion with potential teammates about the project and whether they may be interested in working on it. I think the most important thing is do not select a team you are not excited to work with? I have a question in the chat. How are the UIs usually hosted for mainnet dApps? Is IFPS used much or other ways? To be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea. Because of the work that I tend to do for hackathon things, I very rarely see fully deployed apps on anything other than testnets. But I'm not, yeah, honestly, I have no clue. But I appreciate you asking because, well, maybe I'll find out. Yes, this is very, very, very helpful advice. If you're working online, it's important to consider hackathons. Is the MetaMask Chrome plugin safe? I've also heard weird stuff about IFPS or IPFS. I don't know if I've used the MetaMask Chrome plugin. I do remember for last Global Hack Week Web3, we did dabble in Flutter and making a Flutter app with MetaMask auth, but I don't remember actually using the Chrome plugin. I might do some research on it before I install it. But I haven't heard of anything weird happening with MetaMask in general, so you should be safe. But don't, take my word as law here. So, for testnet dApps, I mean, I've usually seen the UIs hosted with whatever resources are suggested by the blockchain that they happen to be using. So, for example, if like they're working with something that works pretty well with Python, then or like some like like a blockchain that works well with Python, then they'll usually whip up a Python front end. If they are working with some higher level language, then usually they'll have other resources and things like that. So I think it really depends on the specific blockchain that they're using for testnet stuff, but and it usually, honestly, in my experience, depends on whatever's suggested in the getting started and beginner's guide for the blockchain. So sweet. Okay. Awesome. So if you've determined your team and you still have no project ideas, my usual recommendation is to take a look at the event website, dev post, and/or hacker guide. Specifically, all right. Sorry, y'all. I do have to call another quick break, but I will be back as soon as possible. Friendly reminder, you can find the stream guide and ask any questions in the chat. Awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and get back here, ask all your questions, leave up the stream guide, share my screen. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so let's see here. Awesome. Cool. So for all the tracks and prizes being offered at the event, makes sense. Especially a close look at all the partners. Yep, hackathon themes, team matching. Yep. Ooh, what are my favorite project ideas? I'll love to answer this question when I finish typing this. Oop. Okay, so my personal, entirely not like, so I'll say this. These are my personal preferences. They're not every judge's personal preference, I'm sure, but this is what I love looking at. iOS mobile apps. I really like hardware hacks. You can absolutely combine AI and Web3 in tons of different ways. I mean, it could be everything from creating like automated wallet suggestions to Web3 tutorials and guides using AI to anything and everything in between. So tons of different options. Oh, I keep not scrolling far enough. Sweet. All right, let's see. We have our personal brainstorming example. This is my cardinal piece of advice. I call it the pain points method. All right, so just on the guide, I wrote out my personal favorite pain points method here. This is my method for brainstorming personal projects. And I do mention here why I don't think it's necessarily the best method for brainstorming hackathon projects, because it tends to lead hackers towards creating projects that are too complicated to complete within a hacking period. I also think it's important to, and I'll add this as another category. Building a complete project in the hackathon time period or working on an existing project, which one's preferred more? The large portion of hackathons that I see do not allow for you to work on pre-existing projects at the hackathon, which means that the project needs to be built out and completed at the actual event. When pre-existing projects are allowed, I sometimes have a hard time seeing what is actually completed at the event and what was completed previously. So I think working on pre-existing projects is kind of difficult from a judging perspective. That being said, I do really particularly enjoy when projects are complete. I would rather, and this is personal preference, and different hackathons and different judges have different opinions on this, and this is my opinion as a hackathon organizer and judge many a time. I prefer when a hackathon project is complete rather than when a hackathon project is half done. Personally, I would rather the hackathon project is less impressive but works than like a great idea but doesn't really get all the way there. Because I have to judge what is in front of me rather than the idea itself. It's different than like an idea, right? In that regard. My goodness. Sweet. Awesome. Okay. I think what I would like to do now is give time for people to ask any questions they have about hackathon projects, brainstorming ideas, and then I think I can write out a personal brainstorming example. So my goal is to create a hackathon, a project for global hack week Web3 timeline. I'm thinking for the purposes of this, complete the project and corresponding dev post submission by my vacation later today. Thank you. I will. And then I would go through all of these project ideas and think whether they meet my. The most important thing is that my project ideas meet all of my requirements outright, but I think through which of my nice to haves they meet. Right? All of these meet my second nice to have. This third one in particular meets my first nice to have because I have not worked with Solana before, right? And then what I do next is I look for resources to complete the challenge. And for this, I will go to YouTube videos, Medium articles. I particularly enjoy, I'll go to the developer guide, the MLH resources. For this one in particular, I would definitely focus on this website. There we go. Sweet. All right. I think we've done a lot of Hackathon project brainstorming, friends. So what I want to do is I want to stop sharing my screen for a bit, and I want to give everyone a couple of minutes to ask some questions. In the meantime, I'm going to make sure we're all set up for my next stream, which is exciting. And then once we're done with that, we can go ahead and talk through some of the questions that we have. I think we did a pretty solid job of answering these questions. Let's see if there's anything we need to clean up in the guide. I think I did a pretty solid job of cleaning up this guide as we went along, but let's see. Let's just add a little description here. Alrighty, my goodness, I am still tired. It's okay, it's almost vacation time. All right, hacker resources. Do you have any resource for using Oracle to fetch real-world data through an API? Yeah, I should. Are you trying to use the Oracle API, or are you trying to use Oracle to call an API? Got it. And you're using a existing API. You're not creating an API. Mm-hmm. I think this one may be helpful here. It's calling APIs from custom code, specifically for the Oracle Help Center in the Cloud Platform area. They specifically use Node.js REST API implementation. So if this doesn't have what you're looking for, it might be more helpful to research how to implement REST APIs with Node.js. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, chat, I'm going to go ahead and give everyone more time to ask questions. I'll give you right about 10 more minutes so I can make sure that we're ready for today in Global Hack Week. Because you'll see me there. So I think I'll give you another couple of minutes. And then if there's no more questions coming in, we'll end the stream a little bit early. So we can be all set for today in Global Hack Week. With you and me. Get a little break before it's Global Hack Week time. Or I guess today in Global Hack Week time. Is it time to switch over to thank you for watching? It might be. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. First thing I'm going to do is copy over the link to the Web3 notes. So if anyone's interested in checking out these notes, you can do so here. For most hackathon projects, is it fine to just have it running locally and screen record it working? I always recommend that teams try to make the demo accessible outside of just on their machine. So it would be, in my opinion, best if you manage to deploy the project. There are obviously cases in which this is harder to do than others. For example, the average, I think, iOS app turnaround is like 48 hours for approval, even if it's on test flight, and 48 hours is longer than most hackathons. That being said, I would like to see the app then installed on a physical device rather than just working on a simulator. So in my personal experience, it's always better to have a live demo than a screen recorded demo. That being said, I always recommend teams also have a screen recorded demo for backup. So you should try to have a like live production-esque copy of your project. If that fails, you should have a live demo. If the live demo fails, you should have a pre-recorded screen recording, fully functional, no bugs, no issues, no problems, demo. At the very least, so you can showcase something. That's my advice. Yeah, thank y'all for joining me. This was a fun stream. I'm glad we got to talk about this stuff because I think it's really important. Awesome. Great. I'm glad, y'all. All right, sweet. I'm gonna give you another minute or two to ask any other questions. If not, I will go ahead and thank y'all very, very much for joining me. It was lovely to hang out, lovely to get to work through some hackathon projects with y'all, lovely to get to learn some new things and work through all of these fun little exciting stuff. So very, very lovely to see y'all. I look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes for today in Global Hack Week. But once again, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining me for today's Global Hack Week stream. And I hope you all learned a lot of cool stuff along the way. Lovely to hang out. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.